2019, what a year. But 2020 is right around the corner, and you want to know what the heck is coming up in Gems of War. Well, I've done the research, and I'm about to let you in on the whole shebang. So let's jump right in and see what 2020 has in store for you.
Quite excited by 5.0 actually. It's what I've always wanted Gems of War to be.
We keep having to rein him in a bit right now.
Like, oh, we can do all the things. Everyone's like, you've got to do it a piece at a time, and that's perfectly fair.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but this actually has me pretty darn excited. Seeing Syrian and Nim get all pumped up about it, just talking about 5.0, there's obviously some really cool things in the works here. So I'm going to actually break down for you all the different tidbits that we got from this interview so we can better understand what's actually coming. What is 5.0 and why has it got them so jazzed?
The idea of medals and some of this stuff, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but some of this stuff is laying groundwork for next year's updates.
Something that became very clear when I was rewatching this was that they have other plans for medals. They don't intend for these to be just used for upgrading troops, or if they are being planned to be used to just upgrade troops, they have different medals in mind that they want to use, or different levels they want to add to troops beyond just the initial 3.
But what we may do is we may add more levels of medal in the future. I think
Yeah.
that's a path we could go down.
Just as we might add more levels
Bronze,
to
silver,
kingdoms.
gold. We could
as
add
well.
like sapphire,
Ruby,
and diamond.
or
Sounds a bit
something.
Pokemonish, doesn't it?
So if you're not farming medals right now, you absolutely should be, because they've made it pretty clear in this interview that medals are going to have even more value in the future than they do today.
Medals are such an important part of future development in the game.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
But I think we're kind of at a point now too where if we don't want to add more things you have to do in a day. We don't want to
No.
add another event, so there's 2 events running and you've got to do another thing as well. Like,
Oh, no.
we don't want to do that anymore. I think every time we add something now, we'll take something away and add a thing, and try to improve on something that's in there currently.
This leads into the next section of updates they were talking about, where it was changes to different game modes specifically, trying to enhance the game modes that already exist so they're more fun, versus just adding more additional game modes into the game.
Yeah, we kind of know where Arena's going, and I don't want to talk.
We're not
too
going to talk.
much. I'm not going
about
to
that.
tell you what we're going to do with Arena. We want to make it fairer, more interesting, more rewarding, something that's very approachable by new players but still very fun for old players. That's kind of our goals with fixing Arena, and something that can be something that can also have an event associated with it. So maybe, instead of a bounty event, this is not another event to do to make more things to do, but just to mix up events, we could have an Arena event, for example.
So every event that we have in the game so far involves scaling levels of difficulty, so all the enemies always get stronger and stronger as you go deeper into the event. This would seem to imply that the arena is going to be updated to be in this style, where you're going to run through multiple fights, but those fights will escalate in difficulty as you go through.
We found that having the troop levels the way they are, where enemy troops can go above level 20, is a really great way to provide that difficulty.
This kind of leads me to my biggest gripe about the direction that Gems of War has been taking with their events. If you look at every single event type that's out there, whether that's bounty troops, class events, Tower of Doom, anything like that, everything that isn't Guild Wars basically, all of the difficulty is coming from just ramping levels within troops, but this limits us to basically using the same scaling types of troops. So you're going to be using a Mang, an Earth's Fury, a Trickster Shot. If you want to be doing damage based on life, you're going to be using a Yao or a Ketris. If you want to be doing damage based on how much armor you have, you're going to be using like a Tesla or a Guard's Avatar or a Wayne. None of these troops introduce a ton of dynamics into the game. Like, whenever I'm creating team builds for you guys in my weekly preview videos, it's always going to be some mix and match of these like 10 to 15 ingredients. And that's not really a fun direction for the game to go. Whereas if you look at a mode like PvP or Guild Wars, every single troop that's in the game has some potential value. Like, the diversity of troops is so much broader when it comes to that game mode, because the level of the troops isn't increasing, it's the combinations of those troops that's changing. So my feeling and my wish for 2020 would be that events change in direction from this just constantly ramping the levels of the enemy troops, and more into a direction where the difficulty is coming from how hard it is to complete the fights of troops at equal level, have it be a gauntlet style where it's like a delve almost, where you have to use a team that you build and beat multiple fights in a row in order to get some major reward at the end. But as it stands now, if it's just yet another ramping difficulty thing, it'll be the same plug and play teams that we've been using day in and day out for the last like 2 to 5 years.
Really, we should be looking at systems that get more difficult but with higher rewards.
I agree wholeheartedly. I just hope that difficulty isn't from ramping enemy levels only.
Changes planned. I reckon Arena will get an update sometime in the first half of next year, maybe. Treasure Hunt, I'm not sure when. I want to make PvP more exciting.
Yeah, I was about to mention there's a couple of things we've been discussing with PvP.
There's so much more we can do. But PvP, like I said, is the most played game. And we've almost got the exact same old system we used to have years ago. And part of that, maybe the system's just not broken, so we shouldn't, if it's not Baroque, don't fix it.
Oh lord. So this could be awesome, or this could be terrible. PvP as it stands right now is a totally fine mode of play. Like, the teams are fine, the gameplay is fine, the menu system's fine, like everything about PvP as it stands today is actually completely fine. The one little issue that could exist would just be the fact that the gold rewards you're getting for completing PvP is extremely dynamic based on what your team score is and what team score you're fighting. If they were just going to change that piece, I think people would be happy. A complete redesign to PvP in any capacity really excites and scares the crap out of me.
I feel like we could, even though it's not broke, maybe we could make it better. Maybe we could make it a bit more interesting.
Make it more fun.
Yeah.
And particularly for different level ranges. And a bit more rewarding for people in general.
Yeah. That'll be one of my goals for next year. It'll be my New Year's resolution, make PvP more fun.
We wrote, so there was some stuff in the patch notes where we were talking about a few things. I'm not going to point out where in patch notes because I want you guys to do the homework, which may or may not give you hints what we have planned.
Ooh, Nim's been dropping hints.
So if any of you guys have some free time on a weekend, dig through some patch notes and maybe you can be the prophet that the community deserves and let us know what the heck else is coming. Maybe there'll be something like new rarities of troops?
As long as we're looking after the game, there won't be any more rarities.
No.
I really don't want to go there. 6 rarities is enough.
Okay, maybe not. So there you have it, folks. Seems like we've got some really cool stuff coming in 2020 that I'm actually pretty excited about. I know the tone of the video may have made it seem like I'm all doom and gloom and everything they're going to change is terrible. I promise you I don't believe that. I actually do have faith in the developers that they're going to have our best interests in mind to keep the game fun, but also make sure that the game can exist in the future, and they seem to do a pretty good job of balancing that. I know community opinion may be different, but me personally, I do believe in the devs. So that's all we got coming up for 2020 to look forward to. I'm sure there'll be all kinds of little interesting mechanic changes as far as like spells and things like that, but for the most part, the game mode changes are going to be the most interesting thing, I think. For the theme of 2020, some dramatic changes are likely in the pipeline. So that's all I got for you guys. This is Keylime signing off. Peace.